And welcome to TalkFCB, and welcome back here to the channel, guys, to a Barcelona news roundup today, and it is a big one because Barca have returned to training. The work ahead of Napoli has well and truly begun, and of course today we're going to be talking the latest on fitness of Antoine Griezmann, of Clement Lenglet, and of course of Ousmane Dembele. We're also going to be talking about the latest situation with regard to Arthur Melo and why Monchu could be the man to step up into that midfield role should we need him ahead of Napoli. It's all coming up in today's video. Let's get to it. Because ahead of that training session this morning, the first really important thing to know and the fantastic news from today is that the entire Barcelona squad tested negative for COVID-19, which basically means that everybody there is free to return to that training without any problems at all. And that's big news, because if any of those players there would have come back positive for COVID-19, of course, they would have had to self-isolate, and in doing so, they would have missed that game against Napoli, and that's why it's really important now. All of those players are fine, and that's why this morning, training is back. Because all of the first team players indeed returned to training this morning at 9:30 in order to begin what is, like I say, that vital preparation period ahead of Napoli. I said yesterday in the video, the training is going to be shorter than what we saw sort of after lockdown, but what it is going to be is much more intense. Quique Setien there is going to be putting the players straight away through their paces and getting them absolutely ready. And in terms of training today, Clement Lenglet and Antoine Griezmann both did train, but it wasn't just yet with the group. That's the important thing to note here. They do continue there with their recoveries from the injuries they suffered just before the break, of course, and they did take part there out on the field, but it was individual work away from the group, or it has been reported right the way through the Spanish media. The feeling with both players is very, very good, and they are both expected to be back ahead of Napoli, and of course, we need both. Another man and another player, of course, who we are all extremely interested in. He was out on the field too today, Ousmane Dembele, in a very similar situation there to Lenglet and with Griezmann. He didn't train with the group, he wasn't there part of the entire session, but he was there out on the pitch again, continuing that recovery, going through all of the steps that he needs to do before he can fully return, and it's very interesting to see the official Barcelona account in France actually tweeting there a picture of Dembele with the caption, "Waiting for the green light," on of course there about the medical green light, and we're all hoping that is so close now for Dembele, and when that comes, he should be returning with the group, I'd imagine, really soon, and of course once that happens, the excitement well and truly begins. But of course, in all of that excitement and in all of that optimism, one man who was not, and definitely not, was in training this morning, it was Arthur Melo, because he was absolutely nowhere to be seen. We spoke about his situation yesterday in a lot of detail. I said, of course, that Arthur was unprofessional in the way there that he was saying, look, I'm not coming back, I'm staying in Brazil, I'm not going to return to training. That wasn't the right way to go about it, but quite clearly, very frustrated is Arthur about the way that he's been treated from the club, and in particular, the way the board went about the deal. Now, of course, Arthur said that he's not coming back from Brazil, and there was a bit more that came out last night in the local media, because they basically came out there and said that Arthur is really keen, not just to not return to Barcelona, but actually to get his contract with the club ended now, which is interesting, because obviously Arthur isn't just happy there to sit in Brazil and pick up his wages. He's quite happy to say, you know what, look, I don't want to come back, I don't want to play, but you can end my contract now. You don't need to keep paying me. I'm not just going to sit out here and collect the wages. Let's just have things all tied up and done now. However, that's not happening. The club, Barcelona, the board, do not want to end Arthur's contract early, and they're refusing right now to do that. According to Cope, it will not happen. Instead, what Barcelona now are going to do is open disciplinary proceedings against Arthur for his failure to show, first of all, for the COVID-19 testing that took part, like I say, yesterday, and of course this morning, he wasn't in training when he should have been, and that is why now that case is open against him. And that's interesting, because I would imagine there, that case against Arthur, it must be for more than his wages. They must have to try and fine him here for what they would be paying him out in wages, and even more, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just cut your losses? If this is going to continue costing us money, and he is going to stay in Brazil, surely that's not really worth Barcelona as well. So I'd imagine there, they're going to try and fine Arthur for a lot of money. Either that, or maybe the club are thinking, right, what can we do here to try and get Arthur to change his his mind, try and scare him really into returning and doing a U-turn. But just imagine how that would be. Imagine now if Arthur said, okay, fine, you're going to fine me huge money, I'll come back. Imagine what that would do there to the morale in and around the squad. It'd be very awkward, he'd be coming back in, you'd know that he wouldn't want to be there. And this is what I meant before, about in the middle of a season, doing a deal like this, which just affects everybody. It doesn't just affect Arthur, it doesn't just affect that one particular deal. The whole squad here must be thinking, we're trying to gear up, we're trying to prepare for the biggest game of our season, and we've got all this nonsense going on around us. We didn't need any distractions. And it's just going to be interesting now to see what happens with this. One thing that I do have to say is, please completely ignore the report that's come out, which basically says that Arthur is so angry, not with the club, but with Setien. One report came out and basically said that Arthur is only angry with Setien, that's why he's not coming back. That is nonsense. Not only wouldn't that be fair, but that is just a completely inaccurate report. And all that is, guys, is simply there just to take all of that blame, all of that spotlight away from Bartomeu and the board. It's easy there to say, oh, it's all Setien. Let's put all the blame there on the shoulders of Setien. But we all know, we've seen this situation from the very beginning. It's nothing to do with Setien. Yes, he hasn't played Arthur. Yes, things probably haven't been great between the two of them. But this was all kicked off and all went wrong with what the board did with Arthur in forcing him out of the door and the entire deal with Juventus. But like I say, it's not something we need right now. It is a growing concern. And I honestly don't think Arthur's going to change his mind. I think he is very set in his ways. Like I say, it's not the right way to go about it, but he seems as though he does not want to play for Barca again. And since that is the case, as we discussed yesterday in midfield against Napoli, Arturo Vidal is suspended, Sergio Busquets is suspended. We are seriously lacking options, not only now at centre-back, but also looking there into midfield. If you have any injuries, if you have any late problems, we are going to be in serious trouble. So, what about Monchu? We spoke about it in yesterday's video there, the Barcelona B midfielder and their captain. He's shown real promise in recent times, and he's had a really impressive season there that hasn't gone unnoticed at Barca B. And the interesting part of this is, Setien is going to include him there in the training sessions. He is going to bring him up there to the first team. First of all, Monchu will have to go through that COVID-19 test just to make sure that he's absolutely fine. But once that's all cleared, he is, according to Rack 1, going to join up with the first team. Setien is willing to give him a shot, willing to give him a chance, having him there in and around the squad, and he could even feature in that Napoli game if we need him. And what a chance that could be for Monchu here to burst onto the scene in one of the biggest games of our season, one of the biggest games he could have imagined to be involved in, thrown right in at the deep end. But he is an option, and he will be able to play Champions League, given the fact here it's different with B players. A lot of people are saying there, is Monchu registered? Could he actually play in the game? Yes, he can. Because if you're a B team player, if you're under the age of 21, and if you've been with the club for 3+ years, you can actually be registered for the next Champions League game just 24 hours before that game takes place. So it's very easy there to register extra B players, which is really important for us right now. But what I will also say is, Monchu might have to take that chance. Because right now, according to the Spanish media, it is absolutely confirmed and nailed on that he's not going to be continuing in Segunda B with Barcelona B next season. I think, to be fair, he has outgrown that level now. He's 20 years old, he's punching above that weight, and that's fair enough. He's shown such a good level with the B team, and right now, it's time for him to make that next step. But is it going to be to the Barca first team, or is it going to be elsewhere? We've spoken about Premier League clubs, apparently as well. Betis, Valencia, Sociedad, they've already inquired to Barcelona over the availability of Monchu, and Barca right now would consider a sale, but in that sale there would apparently be a buyback option for up to 2 years if we did want to bring Monchu back to the club. But let's focus on the now. He may be involved in the first team, he's going to get a shot in training, I'm sure he's going to give everything to impress Quique Setien, and let's just wait and see where we end up with all our options and what happens against Napoli. And just before we do end, guys, speaking of Napoli, please do feel free to join me tonight in the TalkFCB Flick Chat. Inter against Napoli, a massive game in Serie A, and that's going to be a real test there of what Napoli are made of. Can they handle those big occasions? Inter are a top side, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Napoli approach the game tonight, their style of play, and of course as well, how they get on in terms of a result. A loss tonight would place more pressure on Gattuso, on his players, and it would hurt confidence. Let's wait and see what happens. You can find the link there to get involved in all the conversation down below. I will see you soon, of course, with plenty more videos to come. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on everything we have discussed in today's video, from the training to the possible returns there of Lenglet, Griezmann, Dembele, Arthur's situation, of course, and Monchu. Let me know, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys, but until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.